The All on Green podcast with Cam and Matt, shining a light on the overlooked sports of New Zealand. Thanks to Baseline.
Welcome back to the All on Green podcast, where the wheel decides the fate. If it lands on green, the podcast ends. The episode's done, we're done. If it lands on black, we ask our guest Ben a sports-related question. And if it lands on red, we're going to ask a slightly more personal-based question. How are we today, Ben?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you guys for having me.
Much on the cards for today?
Not so much. Maybe some gym later, but yeah, pretty quiet.
What sport are you into?
So I'm a competitive powerlifter. So I've been competing since 2019 in powerlifting. So I've recently competed at Worlds, which was in Malta, sort of just near Italy. But yeah, I've been doing that since 2019, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Is that when you started getting into powerlifting in 2019, or that's
Yes. So my first comp was in 2019. Got a coach, and then just pursued sort of my passion from there.
Did you used to do heavy lifting at the gym and stuff by yourself beforehand, or did you get just focused really on
I used to play rugby, and I just wanted to get stronger and bigger for rugby. So
Was it just in 2019, did something click going, I want to do this as a sport? Or did you kind of have the inkling of, I want to try and see whether I can do it?
My mate suggested it in 2019, and I just sort of followed him, trained with him a few times, and just found that passion, got a coach. His name was Atlas Powerlifting, and kind of stemmed from there. Dabbled in some other coaches as well, and it's been great ever since.
Gosh, should we just
I
get
was about to
straight
say, should we get into
Should
it before we
crack
keep
into
on asking?
Yeah.
All right.
That's black.
Pretty sure that's a black one,
Am I
right?
am I asking first question?
Yep, go for it.
Oh. So tell us about the IPF World Competition.
Sweet.
How does it work, and how did you place, or I don't know if it's how you place or how the country plays. How does it all work?
Okay, so it's in countries, obviously, because it's a world-based competition. In powerlifting, there's quite a few different federations, but the main federation that natural athletes compete in is the IPF, which is the International Powerlifting Federation, which is the biggest federation, I would say, in the world. And basically, your country selects the best lifters from the country to go. You have to compete a year prior in that year. You just compete against the best countries in the world, trying to lift the most amount of weight possible. So you got the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. 3 attempts on each lift, so it's slightly different to Olympic-based weightlifting. And my placing was okay. I was more or less going for some PBs, so I ended up totaling 700 kilos between my squat, bench press, and deadlift. 257.5 on my squat, 160 kilos on my bench press, and then 282.5 kilos on my deadlift.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
You say 160 bench.
Yes.
So you could bench me twice. You could bench 2 of me, in theory.
Yeah, I mean, I could give it a try. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, it's crazy. So how do you get selected to go to Worlds?
Yeah. So you have to be usually the top 1 or the top 2 in the country. So New Zealand Powerlifting, they've got a big committee basically up in Auckland, and they'll review everyone's performances based on the competition prior, which is usually provincials. So I competed at provincials in April earlier this year, and then based on my performance there, they select basically the best lifters in the country to go.
So the IPF, would that be the biggest competition out there, or is there anything above that people could strive for?
Yeah, there is. For natural athletes, I would say the IPF is the biggest. There is some other federations where, we got some money meets where, first place could get 10 grand or third place could get 5 grand. In the IPF, you don't have that per se. But for natural athletes, I would say the IPF is the biggest. We have recently introduced a new comp, which is called Sheffield, which has really grown the IPF, which is another money meet where lifters can win, I think it's upwards of 20K. That's quite a lot of money. So that would be the goal eventually, but that will be extremely hard to get to.
Yeah.
So I take it there must be quite a lot of investors with prize pools like that. Are there?
In the IPF, not so much because I'm not really sure why there isn't too many investors. We have the main sort of sponsors of, I don't know if you've heard, like SPD apparel. They do like knee sleeves, soft suits, wrist wraps. They're quite a popular brand, but they usually invest in the powerlifting competitions. But yeah, you've got your sort of main sponsors that invest in the competitions.
Yeah. And when you said you travelled to near Italy, I forgot like this
Malta, yeah.
Malta.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to fund your own like money to get there? Like,
Yeah. So that's the thing with powerlifting, especially in the IPF, that it is self-funded. So yeah, I had to independently source sponsors, reached out to some family friends who had some businesses, some real estate companies, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to, raise that money, but it can be quite difficult trying to get all the funds, especially going all the way overseas.
how much did you have to raise if you don't mind me asking?
Oh gosh, it's probably around 4K-ish.
Was there any potential of getting that back with placings, or was it purely just investing into yourself?
Yeah, at the higher level comps, so I went to junior worlds. So it's the best juniors in the world that are under 24 years of age. So they don't actually give out money for placings at junior worlds. It's only the open worlds, which are people that are above 24. So I'll be looking to go to that next year. And they give out, I think, I'm not sure specifically how much for first place, but they do give out some money at open worlds.
And you said you went and you were a part of a New Zealand team.
Yes.
So did you get individual placings or a country place?
So we do get individual placings. You get selected per weight class and age category. So I compete in under 83s. And we sent basically a full team. So for the men, we start at under 59 and go all the way up to 120 plus. So I don't know how many people per male team there is, but there's quite a few. I think it's upwards of 8 plus men we send, and then on the female side, the same about. So I think in the competition I got 15th maybe out of like 35 lifters, which is really happy. Well, I was happy with that considering it was a world level competition. I was more or less happy with my total, to be honest, because I was gunning for that 700 total for a couple of years and just fell shy. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
That was a quick.
Oh, that was a quick one, eh?
And we're on black again.
Sweet.
So, how do you approach nutrition and recovery to ensure you can hit new personal bests without risking injury?
Yeah, I mean, I take my nutrition pretty chillax, to be honest. Main thing is just my protein. Make sure that I'm hitting 2 grams per kilo, so whatever, that's about 180-ish grams per day, roughly. I used to be really, really strict with it, but that just got a little bit too obsessive with my lifestyle. So just making sure that I'm eating a balanced diet, really. Fruits, veggies, and protein really at every meal. And making sure that I'm fueling my training sessions as well. So having some carbohydrates before my session has really gone a long way. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty chillax with it, to be honest. If someone's going to offer me dinner out or we're going to go out for lunch, I definitely won't be turning that down.
Yeah. So you're not like planning for like the whole week for like.
No, I don't think it's necessary as well. I think the main thing is your protein. that you're consuming enough of that, because that's what's going to really help your recovery.
Did you notice a difference when you were going really intense and making that switch to maybe I don't need to be as intense? Was there much of a difference?
Personally, not really, to be honest. The main difference was just my mental state. Like, it gets really overwhelming trying to be really strict and bodybuilder-like in terms of nutrition. I guess there is that sort of stereotype that like most strength athletes need to be extremely strict, which isn't necessarily the case. Having a balanced diet is really, really key.
You mentioned like being asked to go out for a dinner or lunch. Did you have to turn them down quite a lot when you were
Not
focusing?
so much. It was just the fact that I could potentially eat as much or indulge or just be worried about, the sort of foods that I'm eating. So I was in a lower weight class. I was in the 74s. So I moved up the last couple of years. And when I was in the 74s, that was quite difficult because I had to really turn stuff like that down and, not really enjoy life, to be honest, as much as possible.
That's what I say. You should probably if you're when you're real strict and you're going out for dinner, you're getting your head about it and then
Exactly.
not want to eat it and
Yeah, it gets a little bit too much. And I mean, life's short at the end of the day. Like, even if it is for a sport, you do need to make a sacrifice, but there's always that fine balance between how much it's going to take away from your life in terms of eating, because eating is a big part of our lifestyle.
Would you like to have a turn spinning our wheel?
Okay.
We've figured out the best routine.
Yeah.
Spin the wheel one way and then do the ball the opposite direction.
Okay. So this way?
Yep.
Okay. Spun it pretty hard. Still moving.
It's getting there. It's getting there. It's hanging around that green.
yeah, it's a pretty of a
But,
it's a bit of a
there we go.
Blanky
Okay.
ass wheel.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Next
We're
one.
black on black.
all right. What is the best achievement or endorsement you've received from powerlifting?
That's a good question, actually.
Or the most happy you've been, I don't know how you said you had your goal.
Yeah.
What's
I mean, probably recently at the IPF Worlds in Malta, placings aside, it was more about the personal achievement for me. So hitting the 700 kilo total at 83 kilos, which is pretty big for me. It probably did got a little bit overlooked because we sent two athletes in the same weight class, and he got fourth. So I was really happy with the 700 kilo total. Didn't place me anything, but it was more the personal side of things that really I was really happy with.
Now that you've hit that 700, do you have a next goal? Have you gone up to 800 as a goal?
Yeah.
or-
That would be a massive step up. So I'm actually open next year, which means that I'm 24. So that means that I'm competing with the big dogs, basically. So I was looking at nationals, and top 3 83 kilos were 740 roughly. So if I can total around 740, 750-ish, I'll be, right around that podium mark for under 83s. But number 183 at the moment is totaling 845. So yeah, so he's going to Sheffield, which is that big money meet, which he could actually win that overall. But yeah, he's just next level. So even if I can get second or third, I'll be stoked with that.
Yeah, do you think 740's on the cards for you?
Yeah, I think I could do 740, especially in the next 4 months. I'm looking at going to Open Worlds, which is next year, early next year. I'm not too sure specifically, but yeah, I would have to total around 740 to make that team.
Yeah,
the Open Worlds.
Do you have when you're competing? Do you have a favorite
favorite lift?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like deadlifts the most. So in powerlifting, you have specific commands the refs give you. For squat, you have to wait until the bar's like motionless, and then the head ref will give you the squat command, and you have to wait back up at the top. And bench press, there's like 3 different commands as well, and on deadlift it's very simple. You just pick it up, and the head ref just says down. So it's quite simple, and you don't really have to think too much in terms of the deadlift. And it's just a bit of fun as well. It's heavy. The last bit of the day, you can actually lift quite a bit of weight on it, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Would you say that's your best lift?
I would say I'm probably quite all-rounded, to be honest. Yeah, probably just. I would like to be pulling 300 this year, though.
Yeah. Like some people who compete, like let's just say really good at deadlifts, but then their bench is like low.
Yeah.
Does that happen like quite a lot, or?
It does happen quite a lot, especially in the novices. The novices are the people that are competing for the first time in the year. Training the upper body is really critical, and that relates to your total quite a bit. So you do have these people who are called, the deadlift specialists, who will pull, half their total on their deadlift. And I've always tried to not be that person.
Yeah.
And be quite all-rounded overall. Yeah, but you do get that a little bit, having the really low bench. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's me.
so do the placings work as overalls, or are you placed per lifting category?
So you place per total. So the highest total wins, and that's also categorized by the weight class. So, the 83 kilo juniors will be competing against 83 kilo juniors, with the highest total that wins. If it is tied on total, it goes down to body weight. So the lighter lifter wins. So we all weigh in basically 2 hours before lifting, and that actually does happen more often than you think. So being maybe a little bit lighter could be a little bit of an advantage.
All right, I will spin us away. It's getting closer and closer to that green.
Red.
Hey.
Right. What does a typical day look like for you, from morning routines to wind down at night?
Okay. Well, at the moment, I'm actually only working part-time, so I work at Shirley Boys High School. I just work in the gym there, supervising the boys. So, wake up, have some breakfast, might do some programming in terms of my clientele. So on the side, I also powerlift coach. That's usually what most powerlifters do. They coach as well. So programming in the morning, breakfast, might go for a little bit of a walk, or just to sort of wake up, and then I'll head to work around 12 to around 4:30, and then I'll go to the gym from there to about 9-ish.
5-hour
Yeah.
session.
Most of it's very social,
Yeah.
our gym. So a lot of the time we are training, obviously, but a lot of the times we are catching up. With
Like a lot of breaks in
others.
between.
Yeah, it is very social.
Yeah.
Like I've told that quite often, that I go for that long period of time, and that's usually the reaction. Like, it's a long period, but it's mostly catching up with people, talking, but also completing your session.
It's a way to socialise while
Yeah.
still
Yeah, doing this.
getting what you need done.
Yeah, exactly, and I love it, so I wouldn't have it any other way.
And is that the same routine, just about 7 days a week, or?
So I'll train from Monday to Wednesday, like that. Usually have a rest day Thursday. Just try and head to bed early. And then Friday, Saturday I'll do the same. Weekends are a little bit more chill. We are currently opening up a new gym in Sydenham, which is called Zero Weakness. So I've been putting a lot of time towards that as well over the week.
How much clientele do you have? Like when you say you are.
At the moment, not too many clients, to be honest. Just because between Shirley Boys, well, if you count the Shirley Boys students, I've probably got about 6 to 8 roughly, and then I've got three one-on-one clients, and then a couple others that just do programming only. So, give or take 10ish.
Yeah.
But with the gym starting up, I'll be working full time there. So just managing the space, making sure that people are lifting safely, managing behaviour and cleaning and all that.
So how does that work if people want to coach? Like, how do they come to you and say, like, I want to coach for, I don't know, is it only for powerlifting, I assume you're coaching? Or
No, not specifically. I mean, all my clients are for powerlifting, just because that's, what I do.
Yep.
But usually they reach out on my Instagram. So they'll usually just send me a DM or fill out my questionnaire or my story. But yeah, if people are interested, go onto my Instagram and go from there.
Is it something you really enjoy doing? Like,
Yeah.
you like seeing like other people's progression and stuff?
Yeah, I love that. I get a real buzz out of seeing people progress and getting better. Yeah, it's really my main thing.
Have you had like the same people over like I don't know, like a long
Yeah.
period of time so you can see that progression, or not as such?
No, I've had 2 clients I've had for about a year and a half, 2 years. So Jordan, his name is, and Toby. Jordan recently competed at the NZPF Nationals.
Hey.
And he won best overall sub junior. He's crazy strong. I think can squat. What did he squat? 260 plus, nearly benched 170, and deadlifted 285 as a sub junior, which is he's 18. So like he should be going to Worlds next year.
Yeah.
So he's crazy strong, and he's only going to get stronger at that young age.
Are those people like already into powerlifting, or like they kind of come to you to like help, I don't know, get some like knowledge on like where to go and how to do it?
So yeah, I was his first coach. So he generally trained at Shirley Boys High School. But yeah, he needed some guidance in terms of programming and structure and coaching and sort of how to structure his weeks. And it has gone really well ever since.
Did you want to quickly plug your Instagram?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's at ben.lifts. So Ben and then .liftz. You'll see me. If you're interested in getting stronger or interested in powerlifting, just send me a DM. We can go from there.
Easy.
Sweet.
Just like that.
Sending everyone
Easy.
to the world champs.
Yeah. How good.
All right, is me. Am I
I'm
up?
pretty sure it's your turn.
Yeah.
Perfect. This blaze is way too small.
It's got to be another red, right? What are we?
Nah,
Back to black.
Nice.
that's our last black one. How did you get into lifting and coaching? And I'll just ask that first. How did you
Cool.
get into it?
I mean, we sort of have covered that already in terms of, so I was playing rugby and just wanted to get bigger and stronger for rugby. And my mate sort of directed me into the gym and just wanted some more structure in terms of my training. So I reached out to a local coach, got some programming, and then sort of the rest is history. Did my first comp in 2019 and just got hooked on the powerlifting bug and seen the massive community that we have in New Zealand in terms of powerlifting, and just been going hard ever since.
Yeah, and how did you get into like coaching and with the Shirley Boys thing you said you're doing? How did you get like into? How do you start that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of coaching, I was it was quite difficult for me to find a career initially. I didn't really know where I wanted to go during high school. There's always the PT, avenue, but I wanted to be a little bit more specific and a little bit more niche in terms of my passion. So thought, why not pursue powerlifting coaching and pursue my passion that I'm really into.
Like, how do you get into that? Like, how do you actually like become one?
So I've done a few courses. So through the gym that I work at, we do a powerlifting course that's roughly 8 months long. That's dedicated just to coaching powerlifters. I've also done a Bachelor of Science at UC. But yeah, I've always been interested in sport and interested in getting stronger. So I guess just seeing how my programming is structured, I was always interested in how it all works and the methods behind getting stronger and prepping towards competitions. It's quite an interesting process which doesn't necessarily get looked at in terms of general gym training.
Oh, cool.
I guess we've only got one more because we've only got one more option of black. If it lands on black.
Sweet.
All right. Do you want to take another spin?
You can do it. I think I spun it a little bit too long last time.
Oh, that was easy. What have we got here?
Black.
And it's black. Can anyone get into the sport? Like, can you join at any age, any fitness level?
Yeah, for sure. The good thing about powerlifting is that we have a lot of newcomers and a lot of novices coming to the sport each year. And that's what I found really rewarding working at Shirley Boys, that it is the new generation that we are getting into the sport. In terms of age, I believe in the IPF, the youngest you compete is 14. But there is some younger athletes than 14 years of age. But in terms of Canterbury powerlifting, we do have a very young generation coming through schools and just social media, I would say. A lot of new people looking at the highest levels of powerlifting and wanting to get started at a young age.
Would you say, like, if, I don't know, say if you're a bit older and you wanted to get into it, can you get into it at, like, mostly, like, not any age, but, like...
Yeah, I mean, any age, to be honest. We do have masters categories, which all the way up to, I don't even know how old it goes up to, but yeah, there's no age cutoff per se. We have lifters of a very widespread age demographic. I would say, though, that most of our lifters are junior to open sort of age, around the sort of 20s to 30s.
So you would say if, like, any people are, like, kind of interested in, like, starting the gym or powerlifting, just to go for it and just...
Yeah, just go for it. There's lots of free powerlifting programs online, or you can hit me up. Yeah, to start, I mean, the main thing is just to get into the gym and just develop some sort of routine, be consistent. Even if you're doing something that's not as optimal, the main thing is consistency and adherence. So making sure that you're adhering to something long term is really key. So even if that's once per week in the gym to start off with, and then gradually build that up.
Yeah, because I've gone through a few phases.
Yeah, adherence is really key. So even if it's a subpar sort of split or something that you really enjoy, or start small and then work your way up, adherence is the determining factor there.
Can you please sign a photo that we've printed off?
Sure, I can do that. Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we're gonna add it to our wall of fame, which is also behind you.
Yeah, if you look behind you, that's everyone who we have had or going to have on. We're getting them the sign.
Awesome. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Okay, I'll have to work on my.
Then when you when the Olympics are saying, we can sell that for heaps of money.
Cool. There you go.
Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on to the
pleasure.
podcast. One read question. You escaped all the tricky questions.
Yes, I did.
But that's the luck of the wheel.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you for spending your Saturday with us on All On Greats.
And that's full time for today. New episodes dropping every Tuesday and Thursday.